Hello and welcome to another review, and this week we got Stranger Things season 2. So that's what we're doing. I didn't binge it. I watched 4 episodes Friday. I watched 5 episodes Saturday. I'm doing my review here Sunday. This will probably go up on Monday though. But that was my whole plan. I thought it was well, I'll save that for the review. Before I get into it, I have to say a spoiler alert. I'm not going to try to spoil everything because that would, take hours. But there will be some spoilers in this review, so definitely consider yourselves warned on all things spoilers for season 2 of Stranger Things. Also, we have a new Facebook page. It's facebook.com/ccinemareviews page. So check the channel out there. I post every time I put up a new video, and you can talk to me there. We're also on Twitter at ccinemareviews. So wherever you want to talk to me, go ahead. With that being said, let's get into the review. So, season 2 of Stranger Things. Is it good? And more importantly, did I like it? And of course, you guys, this season does not miss a beat. The Duffer Brothers are doing an amazing job. They don't miss a beat with this season. Honestly, it's the best second season that we could have asked for. Coming off of one of the best seasons ever in television. So I mean, we got a great season 2. Every character we love is back. And we get some great new characters like Dacre Montgomery as Billy, Sadie Sink as Mad Max, who's really good in this. Paul Reiser as Dr. Owens, who's also really cool. Brett Gelman as a private investigator. More on him later. And Sean Astin, who you remember is Mikey from the Goonies, and this time he's playing Bob the Brain. So we got some cool new characters. It's and this season 2 is not it's not Empire Strikes Back to me. It's more like the third act of the original Star Wars movie, where for the first two acts you have the your main villain is Darth Vader and everything, and to me, the Demogorgon from season 1 was kind of like Luke, Han, Chewie, and Obi-Wan going to the Death Star and rescuing Leia from the Death Star. It was a very threatening and very bad bad situation that they found them in. Same thing with our characters in season 1 of Stranger Things, where this Demogorgon's no joke. Like, we really got to watch out for this thing. And you gotta be careful, because this thing, you just gotta be very careful. Whereas in season 2 of Stranger Things, it gets so much bigger. We have a new entity that's literally the bad guy in this thing is just called him. We never get a name for it or anything. Well, we get a name for it, but that's 8 episodes into it. The Mind Flayer. But to me, it's like when you go from saving the princess, which is a very important task, to trying to destroy the Death Star. The two missions are very different. One is huge and has big implications in the galaxy in Star Wars, and like in Stranger Things, season 2 has huge and big implications for the world of Hawkins and everything that's happening, and including just the entire world. Him could very well take over the entire world. And Elle, in this one, Elle has to go down the path to the dark side. Like, she finds herself a bad Yoda and figures out that anger is the way to get more powerful, which is definitely, going down the path to the dark side. The Duffer Brothers are living up to the expectations and killing it, in my opinion, with everything in this season 2. I think it's honestly the best season 2 of any TV show that I've ever watched. So the story picks up, I'd say around a year after the last season, and pretty much what happens is the gate is spread. It's spread down and out and into Hawkins, and it's making tunnels under Hawkins, like big tunnels. Like, it's not like gopher tunnels. These are like human tunnels, just under Hawkins. And we have this entity that's in the Upside Down that Will sees, and we never have really a name for him. In episode 8 they call him the Mind Flayer, but that's just something that they use in D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, I guess. Um, and they just pretty much call him. So to make it shorter than the Mind Flayer, I'll just say him and give you the quotation marks. But him, he's gonna use the big gate, the expanded gate and the tunnels to enter our world and take it over, because he don't like sunlight. He just likes it gloomy, rainy day. That's his thing. So he's gonna stay underground until he does makes his storm or whatever. But he's like a shadow monster, and it's really cool. I mean, it's a shadow monster, but it's like a smoke, and it's really cool to see. Um, so along the way, Dustin and Lucas, they invite Max, played by Sadie Sink, or Mad Max. They invite her into the gang, which causes problems with Max's older brother Billy, who is just a butthead brother. I mean, dude's got some issues. Needs to needs to get needs to not break his sister's skateboard. I'm just saying, like, dude needs to work it out some other way. um Will gets possessed by him, and Hopper has trouble with a preteen Elle. Okay, I mean, I personally would not want to be Elle's father. I feel like her teenage years are going to be rough for Hopper. Just putting that out there. We find out that there is another kid with abilities. She's 8. I mean, doesn't quite roll off the tongue like 11, but hey, she's 8. She has she has not mind control abilities, but she can make you see things that aren't real, and so cool. Um, and I like that for everything. I like that for everything but closing the gate. So, like, everything else with the Demogorgon dogs, like the half-grown Demogorgons who like run around like dogs on 4 legs instead of 2. With everything but closing the gate, they had someone besides 11 do it, which was really cool. They gave everybody something to do except for Mike's dad, which is still oblivious to anything that's going on. They gave everybody else something to do, and I thought that was really cool. I mean, we even get justice for Barb. The one thing that this season has done really well, just like they did in the first season, was the mystery. This season constantly gives you new information to question. It's like, whether it's 8, who is 8 in the very, it's the cold open of episode 1 of season 2, and you don't see any characters that you recognize. You just see this character 8, and she uses some mind power. I don't know what to call it. She uses some mind influencing power, and then you see her bleed from her nose. She wipes it off, and as she wipes it off, the camera shows her wrist, and it's 008, so her, we call her 8 now. Whether it's that, and then with 8 later on in episode 7 of this season, is Papa still alive? Is Matthew Modine's character still alive? We don't know that going into season 3. Are there more kids out there? Are there more kids with abilities? Are there other facilities like the one in Hawkins? Hawkins, that still is up. We don't know that if there are other facilities who have done the same kind of experiments. Is Bob the Brain working with the government? Turns out, I thought that in episode 2. I was like, okay, this guy is like really not like. I mean, I get that he likes Winona Ryder. He's trying to be, a good dude. He's like almost too perfect for the family. I was like, is this dude a government plant? Turns out he's not. He's just a cool dude. Who's Nancy gonna end up with? Jonathan or Steve? I want it to be Steve because dude is cool, but Jonathan. It seems like at the end of this season, Jonathan's the one she ends up with. Who is Max gonna end up with? Dustin or Lucas? At the end of the season, it's Lucas. I mean, they kiss, so I definitely think it's Lucas. Are the lab people good or bad? Paul Reiser's character of Dr. Owens, is he good, like, actually good, or is he bad, like Matthew Modine's character last season? How many times will Steve get beat up? It's twice already. Dude is not a good fighter. Stick with the bat. That's what you do. Don't try to go fisticuffs. It doesn't work out for you. Tried it twice, didn't work out both times. This season in particular, and Stranger Things and the Duffer Brothers, you guys, if you're going to write anything that's horror, thriller, anything like that, take notes, because this season and Stranger Things itself does a great job of withholding information from the audience until just the right time. As soon as the audience needs some information, boom, there it is. There's your little nugget of information. And you don't just dump it on them. You withhold it until it's the right time. So definitely one of the best things about this is that there's always a mystery. Even at the end of the season, there's still a mystery of what is him, what is the mind flayer, what is he going to do, how is he going to come back, because he seems to be the big bad for this season. He was the big bad for this season, and he seems to be the big bad for next season as well. Let's talk about some major spoilers here. So we find out that Dustin finds Dart, who is short for D'Artagnan, which is it's a baby Demogorgon. It's okay. I'm pretty sure it's the one that Will coughed up at the end of season 1. But he finds Dart, names him, feeds him 3 musketeers, and it grows. It grows, okay? By the way, he keeps it from the party that he has Dart. He tells them about him, but then they like, hey, we gotta kill this thing. It's bad, and he keeps it. It kills his cat, and he still keeps it. Like, and this is something that Steve calls him out about, which is so great. Right, Steve is my favorite character. Steve calls him out. He's like, hey, this thing killed your cat, and you kept it? Like, what? You knew that this would definitely, it's like, this has a very real chance that it could be something that's very bad for you, like very dangerous, and you kept it. I thought, it's like, way to go, Steve. Honestly, I thought Dustin was really stupid, but they turned me around towards the end of the season. I don't think he's the stupidest character ever. Billy, Dacre Montgomery's character, is abusive towards Max, and that really stinks because he breaks her skateboard, and it's like, man, I mean, I guess it's good he didn't hit her, but like, breaking your skateboard is not bueno at all. And he's abusive to her because he thinks that it's her fault that they are in Hawkins now, that they had to move to Hawkins, and so he's like, really, he's got issues. He's got daddy issues, I think. Elle runs off. Like, at the beginning of the season, we find out that Elle has been living with Hopper in his grandfather's cabin, and for like the past year. And so, yeah, he's been like teaching her stuff. He's been, feeding her, keeping her alive and keeping her well, but keeping her away from everybody else, and really just like cooped up in a cabin. And so she runs off. She finds 8, who, and gets taught to use her anger to be more powerful, to use her anger towards Papa, towards Matthew Modine's character, towards the people in the Institute, to become more powerful, to get the power necessary to do what she needs to do. Honestly, you guys, episode 7 of this season is not my favorite episode. It's probably my least favorite episode of both seasons, but that means that it's not a misstep. That just means that it's just not as good as every other episode. But, when every other episode is like great, if not perfect, then it's like, it's good, it's just not as good. There are a few characters that 8 hangs around with where I'm like, you know what, those characters seem like they're fine characters, but they seem like they don't belong in a Stranger Things episode. If you catch my drift, the episode does matter. It's not like if you just skipped episode 7. Like it's not like you can just skip episode 7 because you have flashbacks in episode 9 when 11 is closing the portal, flashbacks back to this episode where she's remembering that 8 was like, hey, use your anger to get to be more powerful. So it's not like the episode doesn't matter. It's just not as good as the rest of the season. Mike was mad at Hopper. Mike was mad at Hopper because when Elle finally comes at, I believe it was episode 8, when Elle finally comes and finds them, like him and or Elle and Mike, they have like a nice little reunion, and then Mike is like super mad at Hopper that he kept her hidden from them. But I feel like he should have understood because you gotta know, like with the government, you gotta know, Mike, that they are going to be watching you for 11 because there's no other reports of some kid you doing some crazy stuff like outside of Hawkins, so she must be around, right? Either that or she must be dead, right? So I feel like he should have understood that Hopper, like, he was, he like honestly, I don't think it was the perfect decision, but I do think it was it wasn't the perfect solution, but I do think it was the right decision to keep her secluded from everybody else. And in the last episode, in the last 2 episodes, it was great because everybody had a job to do. Everybody, even Winona Ryder, like she had a job to do. She and Jonathan and Nancy, they were off helping Will, like essentially burning the shadow monster out of him because the shadow monster possessed him. Essentially burning that out of him. All the our gang, our guys, our party, along with Steve, they go into the tunnels and they draw the demodogs. The demodogs, that's what Dustin calls them. The half-grown demogorgons who run around like dogs. The demodogs, they set a fire in one of the tunnels to draw the demodogs away from the laboratory, and that's how Hopper and 11 get in there and they close the gate. And I thought that it was really cool because it never gets too busy either. Sometimes it's like you got things like let's just say Michael Bay and some of the Transformers movies where it just seems like, yeah, there's a lot of pretty looking action, but it's too busy. You know what I'm saying? There's too much going on. Whereas this, yes, everybody has something to do, and there are multiple storylines, and there are multiple missions being accomplished and being done. Yet it never felt busy. It never felt like, oh, like why are we jumping to this now? It everything felt like it had a purpose, and it was all worth it, honestly, and it was all necessary. Winding down this review, I think that season 2 of Stranger Things is not perfect or as good as season 1 of Stranger Things, but it comes close, you guys. This season is so very well done. Yes, there are negatives in this season. I do believe that Dacre Montgomery's character of Billy is very one-dimensional, but to play devil's advocate to that, he serves his purpose. The character does not overstep his bounds. It never seems like he's in there just because let's just throw another character in there. He serves his purpose, and so I believe that he is a good addition. Yes, I do believe that episode 7 is not as good as every other episode, but it's still really good. Honestly, it is the worst episode of both seasons in my opinion, but hey, don't go crucifying me. Don't go crucifying the whole season. Look, you guys, episode 7 of this season is like maybe a 7 out of 10, and I mean, don't quote me on that, but it's like a 7 out of 10, okay? The reason why I call it the worst episode in both seasons is because every other episode in season 1 and season 2 are like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. So you can understand the reason why I'm saying episode 7 is the worst part, because it's good. It's good. It's just not at the same level as the other episodes. That's the way I see it. Brett Gelman, like the way this season ends, like after we close down the gate, the way we close is so well done. It's honestly better, I think, than season one, where you have Brett Gelman, who is the private investigator. He what this one of the storylines going throughout the season was Nancy and Jonathan, and how they were going to take down or stop the government from using that lab in Hawkins, because it was their fault that Barb happened. And this is how we get justice for Barb. They go to Brett Gelman's character, okay, honk the horn. They go to his character, and they essentially give him the information. They record Paul Reiser telling them, hey, we made mistakes. They record that on the tape recorder, send that to some papers, and then we get justice for Barb, where she actually gets a proper funeral, and then the lab gets shut down. It just seems like everything in this season gets summed up, whether it's the lab at Hawkins, the lab, somebody just came in, the lab, everything just seems to get summed up. It's summed up very well. We get the snowball that was mentioned last season, where you have the kids dancing. Everybody gets to dance, even Zombie Boy, the girl, walks up to Will and is like, hey, Zombie Boy, you want to dance? So everybody's getting to dance. It's pretty cool. And we have a little bit of setup. We have just a little bit of setup for season 3. It's not a big setup. That's the great thing about season 2, in my opinion, is that they could have done a cliffhanger and been like, hey, we know that there's a season 3, because they did get renewed for season 3 and 4. So they know that they have more seasons, but they didn't say like, oh, come back next year to see what happens. They were like, no, we're going to finish this story, but we're still going to leave it open for the next season, which I really, really enjoy, when I'm not left on a cliffhanger for a year. I'm looking at you, Game of Thrones. I'm looking at you. Another thing is honestly, I think the reason why this season is so good, and the reason why I'm not mad at this season, or I'm not mad at the Duffer Brothers for, not having stakes, because, in the first season, I honestly knew that the Demogorgon was going to die, because I watched the first season last week, and spoilers just happened. So I knew that they were going to overcome the Demogorgon. In this one, I didn't know that they were going to close the gate, but I had a good inclination that probably 11 was going to close the gate. The thing, though, is they still had stakes, because all throughout the season, you had Bob the Brain, Sean Astin's character, who's a good dude, who's great, and he's all throughout the season, you grow to love him. Where the stakes come in is that in episode 8, he dies. And so that's something that's really good, because in this season, you actually get death, you get loss, and you get loss of a character that you see for 8 episodes. And that's something that's really well done. They could have thrown this guy in there at episode 3, 4, and then only had 4 episodes with this guy, and he's only in there just because we got to kill somebody off. We got to have stakes, we got to have consequences. The thing is, we got 8 episodes of this guy. I fell in love with him, and when he died, I was shocked. I was, genuinely sad for everybody. And Winona Ryder's performance, being shocked, being angry, being sad about Bob the Brain is dead now. It was good acting, and honestly, that's something that I felt like it needed, and they delivered on giving us actual stakes. Well, that's gonna pretty much do it. Ending this video, I am absolutely excited. I am super excited to watch this season again. And you know what I want to do? I want to watch season 1 and season 2 back to back. But I'm not gonna binge it, because I feel like, honestly, binging is such, in my mind, it's so controversial, because it's like, I'd like to experience it maybe like 1 episode a night, so you get super excited for the next day, and then you get super excited and talk about the previous episode once you're done with it. But then again, binging is so cool, because it's like, oh, you get it all now, and it's like, what do you do, right? So I'm super excited to watch this again, and I honestly, you guys, I think this is an absolute must watch for anybody. I don't care if you're scared, if you're, if you're so, like, if you hate horror and thriller, I don't care. This is so good that you should have a friend over if you live alone. Watch Stranger Things. Turn the lights on and watch Stranger Things. Any way you want to, I say that you should absolutely, you must watch it. It is just that good, and I can't wait till season 3. It's going to be a long time. It's really going to be a long time. I'm so glad I watched season 1 last week and then got season 2 this week, so I got a lot of Stranger Things. It's going to be tough to wait this wait this whole year for season 3, but I'm really excited to see what comes next. And you guys, if you want a speculation video, tell me that in the comment section down below. I'd like to do one, but I'm more based in reviews and things like that. So, yeah, just if you want it, I'll do it. But hey, if not, just whatever. But tell me your thoughts on this season and season 1 if you want in the comment section down below, because I want this to be a discussion, not just a monologue. I want this to be a discussion, so you can tell me down below, or you go on the new Facebook page, facebook.com/ccinemareviews page there, or I'm also on Twitter @ccinemareviews. So definitely tell me your thoughts anywhere, anytime you want. And don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button if you're new here, and hit that little bell next to the subscribe button. It will notify you every time I put up a new video. Thank you for watching this one.